Welcome to ASWB LCSW exam practice test. Our topic today is human development, diversity, and behavior in the environment. Use the link in the description to download the app on the App Store for free practice tests. Number 1. Which stage of Sigmund Freud's psychosexual stages of development occurs at the age of 3 to 5 years old? A. Phallic stage. B. Latency stage. C. Genital stage. D. Anal stage. The correct answer is A. Phallic stage. Explanation. Sigmund Freud proposed that personality development in childhood takes place during 5 psychosexual stages. Phallic stage occurs during the child's 3rd to 5th years old, wherein the child's genitalia are his or her primary erogenous zone. Major task is the resolution of the Oedipal complex and leads to development of superego. This begins about age 4 and the child's phallic striving is directed toward opposite-sex parent and in competition with same-sex parent. Out of fear and love, the child renounces his desire for opposite-sex parent and represses his or her sexual desires. Child then identifies with same-sex parent, internalizes their values, etc., which leads to development of superego and ability to experience guilt. Number 2. According to Piaget's theory, at which stage can children visualize events and concepts beyond the present? A. Concrete operational stage. B. Pre-operational stage. C. Formal operational stage. D. Sensory motor stage. The correct answer is C. Formal operational stage. Explanation. According to Piaget's theory, formal operational stage occurs at approximately age 11 and lasts into adulthood. Child or youth can visualize events and concepts beyond the present and is able to form theories. A systematic approach to problems replaces cognitive random behavior. Child or youth acquires objectivity and awareness of relative relationships, the ability to reason by hypothesis, and the related past, present, and future. Number 3. According to Erikson, how many stages of development are there? A. 6. B. 7. C. 8. D. 9. The correct answer is C. 8. Explanation. According to Erikson, an individual develops after passing through 8 well-defined stages, each of which demonstrates a unique combination of needs and vulnerabilities. Each developmental stage has its focus on some aspect of growth and culminates in an encounter or crisis. The outcome of the encounter or crisis leads to the development of an important human quality. The impact of the broader environment, society, and its culture on the child's development are taken into consideration. Number 4. What is systematic desensitization used to treat? A. Digestive disorders. B. Sleeping disorders. C. Communication disorders. D. Anxiety disorders. The correct answer is D. Anxiety disorders. Explanation. Systematic desensitization is a therapy used to treat anxiety disorders, typically those caused by a specific stimulus. The patient is progressively exposed to anxiety-inducing objects, images, or situations, or is asked to imagine them, and is then encouraged to practice relaxation or other coping techniques to manage or eliminate the anxiety. Once the client learns to cope with a given level of exposure, the intensity of the exposure is increased and the process is repeated. This continues until the client is successfully desensitized to the stimulus. Number 5. Pertaining to Anna Freud's defense mechanisms, which term refers to the withdrawal to an earlier phase of psychosexual development? A. Regression. B. Repression. C. Reversal. D. Rationalization. The correct answer is A. Regression. Explanation. Defense mechanisms are an unconscious process in which the ego attempts to expel anxiety-provoking sexual and aggressive impulses from consciousness. The following are terms as they pertain to Anna Freud's defense mechanisms. Regression. Withdrawal to an earlier phase of psychosexual development. Repression. The act of obliterating material from conscious awareness. Is capable of mastering powerful impulses. Reversal. Type of reaction formation aimed at protection from painful thoughts or feelings. Number 6. Which moral reasoning do individuals in stage 6 of Kohlberg's theory of moral development use to determine his or her model of morality? A. Ethical reasoning. B. Egocentric reasoning. C. Abstract reasoning. D. Critical reasoning. The correct answer is C. Abstract reasoning. Explanation. Kohlberg distinguishes 6 stages of moral reasoning, each of which reveals a dramatic change in the moral perspective of the individual. Stage 6 is the natural progression of stage 5. This stage has a complete separation of morality from legality. Laws may be entirely unjust. The individual uses abstract reasoning based on universal principles to determine his or her model of morality. The person at this level critically evaluates their own actions with respect to their understanding of justice. If they find their actions inconsistent with their belief, they experience guilt. Number 7. What is not included in cultural competence for the individual practitioner? A. Awareness of one's own cultural values. B. Awareness and discrimination of differences. C. Understanding the dynamics of difference. D. Development of cultural knowledge. The correct answer is B. Awareness and discrimination of differences. Explanation. Cultural competence for the individual practitioner is the capability to function with cultural differences. It includes awareness and acceptance of differences, awareness of one's own cultural values, understanding the dynamics of difference, development of cultural knowledge, ability to adapt practice skills to fit the cultural context of the client's structure, values, and service. It is an ongoing process that requires continuing education, awareness, management of transference, countertransference, and continuous skill development. Number 8. In which stage of development of cultural competence do organizations start to recognize needs of different groups and seek to recruit diverse staff and include appropriate training? A. Cultural blindness. B. Cultural proficiency. C. Cultural competence. D. Cultural pre-competence. The correct answer is D. Cultural pre-competence. Explanation. The stages of development of cultural competence in organizations are as follows. Cultural destructiveness, devaluing different cultures and viewing them as inferior. Cultural incapacity, aware of need, feels incapable of providing services, which is immobility. Cultural blindness, colorblind, lack of recognition between cultural groups, denial of oppression and institutional racism. Cultural pre-competence, starting to recognize needs of different groups, seeking to recruit diverse staff and include appropriate training. Cultural competence addresses diversity issues with staff and clients. Staff is trained and confident with a range of differences. Cultural proficiency, ideal, ability to incorporate and respond to new cultural groups. Number 9. Which level is stage 5 of Kohlberg's theory of moral development characterized as? A. The beginning of the post-conventional level. B. The beginning of the conventional level. C. The end of the conventional level. D. The end of the post-conventional level. The correct answer is A. The beginning of the post-conventional level. Explanation. Kohlberg identified 3 levels of moral reasoning: pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional. Each level is associated with increasingly complex stages of moral development, 6 stages. Stage 5 is characterized as the beginning of the post-conventional level. Ethical reasoning is shaped on the basis of general principles and is understood in accordance with underlying rules and norms. Stage 5 rejects uniform application of rules and norms. The level of moral judgment is rooted in the ethical fairness principles from which moral laws are created. The person at this level critically evaluates laws and judges whether or not they conform to principles of basic fairness which are agreed upon by a majority. This level values human life and human welfare as the primary principles of existence. Number 10. In which stage of Erikson's psychosocial development do people enter relationships with others in an involved reciprocal manner? A. Intimacy versus isolation. B. Industry versus inferiority. C. Initiative versus guilt. D. Identity versus role confusion. The correct answer is A. Intimacy versus isolation. Explanation. Intimacy versus isolation is the sixth stage of Erikson's theory of psychosocial development. This stage takes place during young adulthood between the ages of approximately 19 and 40. Task is to enter relationships with others in an involved reciprocal manner. Failure to achieve intimacy can lead to highly stereotyped interpersonal relationships and distancing, and can also lead to a willingness to renounce, isolate, and destroy others whose presence seems dangerous. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for updated videos every week.